Hello and welcome in to another edition of LFC Transfer Room YouTube channel. We've got back with footy tomorrow, finally, proper footy, none of this international garbage. Joined by Anthony and Neil today as we look at all things Merseyside Derby related. A lot of angry fans with the tickets and stuff getting cancelled, more delays with the stand to talk about, loads to cover. Start with you, Anthony. How are you doing this evening?
As you said, the proper football's back. None of this international duty rubbish, and I'm excited. I've missed Liverpool playing for too long now, so yeah, excited for the weekend.
Yeah, Neil, one of them angry fans. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Yeah, I was due to be there tomorrow, but my ticket was in the Anfield Road upper, so unfortunately it was cancelled by the club. So I shall be watching from my living room tomorrow.
We'll start with that really first, Neil. It's a big blow, really, isn't it? Like, I know it's a big blow for fans who had tickets for the derby and stuff, but long term, when you see videos that are going around online, it doesn't look like it could even be ready this year, does it?
No, and I think I really sympathise. I mean, my travel to the game is nothing compared to some of the arrangements that some of the fans would have made. I'm sure there's flights and accommodation booked that and potentially would have cost them thousands. So sympathy goes out to those guys. But yeah, the videos going around, you know, you saw loose steps in the stand. They might not be that big issues to resolve, but it doesn't look very promising. They've given themselves what 2.5 months now to get it ready, and I suspect for the atmosphere of the stadium, it's not particularly great either because you've got this huge empty space at the top of that stand, and I think even the lower tier, if did I read that some of that might not be used tomorrow as well. So from that perspective, for a team that plays with real emotion, it's probably not that great. So yeah, it doesn't look good. As to why it's in this situation, it's difficult to say. But yeah, my heart goes out to those that have spent thousands on tickets for games and aren't going to be able to attend.
Yeah, and Anthony, it's like 10,000, like Neil said. What the atmosphere? It's like near 10,000 fans a week we're missing out on, even in European games. It's just a bit of a. I know the company went bust and that, but it's surprising we went with them, given the track record of the stadium with Fulham as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I can't comment too much. I'm not too sure what's going on, but like we've all seen the videos, and it's ridiculous that they're gonna have to wait till next year to maybe get it fully built. You've been successful, Neil. You got to feel bad. It's horrible, yeah, because it's so rare when you actually get successful in one of these ballots and to get it taken away from you. Yeah, it's not obviously a nice situation, is it?
Yeah, it's horrendous the way it's dealt with, and they had the cheek to put tickets on general sale this morning on a ballot again, which is mad. Hello to everyone in the comments. I got Paul J Muse, Vase of Flowers, as always. Jump straight into match preview then, Anthony. Quite a lot of debate on starting positions tomorrow, so we'll start from the back up. Left back, do we throw Kostas into a Merseyside derby? Because although I like Kostas, I think he's as good a backup you can have, really, in a sense of he doesn't play that much. But now we need them to play for 10 weeks. Bit different. Merseyside derby, bit different.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
I'm still torn on the fact I think Gomez can play left back, but at the same time, we've got Kostas to be a backup for Robertson. You're not got Gomez to play left back when you got an actual natural left-footed, a natural left back there. Sorry, so Tsimikas has done well at times, but you can argue as well at the same time he's maybe not performed because he's not had that consistent run of games because he'll have one bad game, then Robertson straight into the lineup again. So it's kind of a bit harsh on him, but at the same time, that's just reality when you're at a top team. So he's got his chance now, 2 or 3 months maybe. Robertson's out for, so he's got to step up, and I think he can do it. He's a good enough player. We've seen it before. He can produce similar quality balls to Robertson going into the box. Defensively, is he an issue? I think he is, but maybe more game time will hopefully fix that. So I think Tsimikas starts, and I think he starts regularly for us in the next couple of months.
Yeah, I mean, Neil, Paul makes a very good comment. If he can't play against Everton, what's the point in having him as a backup? it's very fair. I mean, when he's been called upon, he has been all right, and he's a decent crosser with the ball as well. But is that someone you'd throw in, or like Anthony said, Gomez? I mean, he's a shout for a 10-week stint at left back. But then if you do put Gomez there, what's the point in having Kostas as a backup left back? It's like a catch-22, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So it would just send a completely wrong message if Tsimikas didn't start tomorrow to him as a player.
Yeah.
And I think in a game where we're expected to dominate possession, if he can get his crossing sorted, then he could be an asset to us on the left-hand side. If we were playing, a tough game away from home, then I think there's maybe a bit more justification for having Gomez as a more disciplined left-sided defender. So I think it's important that Tsimikas gets the vote of confidence tomorrow. We're talking about 10 or 12 week period, so he's not going to play every game. So there may be opportunities for Gomez to play as a left back or a left centre back if we play with the inverted right back. There may be opportunities for Luke Chambers, maybe in the Europa League and Carabao Cup as well. That's someone who's been really impressive for me in the under-21s. Yeah. But tomorrow, I think it's the right thing to do to play Kostas, and I think based on the fact that we should dominate them, it's a game that could suit him.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony, with Gomez, he is the better defender, and like Paul says here, if we were playing Man City, he would be for Gomez start. And I think my thinking with Gomez as well is a bit like he's probably more regimented to stay back, where Robbo is slightly been creeping more and more forward. When in this new system, he's got to stay in that back three. So Gomez could be somewhat a bit of an answer in disguise, really, couldn't it? Long term.
Oh, I still think his best position's at centre back though. Or actually, is it? The only thing is that match against Wolves is in my head when Neto just running ragged in that first half, and I think we've seen it in a few matches where Gomez has had that chance in the big games, and he's messed it up. Like against Man City a couple of years ago, we lost 4-0 or 5-0, I can't remember. And he's been at fault for a lot of the goals. So he's not exactly the perfect defender we're kind of making him out to be, but he's got a mistake in him. I still think keep him at centre back for enough depth, and keep Kostas there. Kostas, like one of the comments brought up, there's no point having Kostas as a backup left back because then why is he here? Just get rid of him. So I'd keep him and start him.
Yeah, Neil. I mean, there's a comment there from you about Konate and with Van Dijk and Paul saying about a 3-4-3. I mean, that's an option we could really consider, isn't it? Bottom Virgil and the left centre back role, Konate in the middle with Matip on the right, or vice versa, and trying now and being a bit more experimental now. Robbo's out for a little bit. Yeah,
it's something that we could look at, and it's kind of, we were almost a three at the back, weren't we, with Trent when he was pushing forward into midfield into that inverted right back role. I think his role, or that role, has changed slightly in that you tend to see the right centre back go on the outside of Trent, so that he can come into the centre of the pitch, but not as advanced as he was when he was first playing in that role. So there is a chance to go 3-4-3. I don't think he'll do it as a. I don't think he'll do it as a 3 at the back. I think he'll do it as a 4 at the back with Trent pushing on, maybe more advanced than he has done over recent weeks when Robbo played. There's other options. I mean, Quansah I thought was excellent against in the Europa League. So you know, he looks like he can play on the left hand side. Would I want to see Virgil on the left hand side or control in the middle? I'd probably rather see him control in the middle than Konate, to be honest. So yeah, I don't think it'll be 3 centre backs. I think it'll be a back 4, but with Trent given a bit more license to roam.
Yeah. Who do you expect to see centre back, Anthony? I mean, is it a game for Matip, who has performed well this season, or is it more of a game for Konate and having that bit of pace in them? Because I know they have got Beto and Calvert-Lewin, and not the fastest. Beto is quite rapid, but Calvert-Lewin seems to have lost his pace. So, what centre back do you think we turn to?
Oh, I think he's opted with Matip in it. So in the Premier League games and Konate in Europa. So maybe Matip. The only other thing I can think of is maybe Matip's not played recently, and obviously Konate has played throughout the international breaks. So his match fitness is more there. But I'd imagine it'll be Matip. I personally would want Konate there, but at the end of the day, I think Matip gets a bit too disrespected among the fan base. And I think he's been great for us, so I wouldn't mind either one. But I think just because he's trusted Matip throughout the season in the Premier League, he'll go with him.
Yeah, that's what I might think. What about you, Neil? Do you reckon Konate gets the knock? I mean, match fitness may come into it. Konate has played in our international break and Matip hasn't.
Yeah, I think he'll stick with Matip. I think he's been quite happy with how he's performed. I think he played him against Brighton as a bit of a vote of confidence after the own goal against Spurs. He played okay against Brighton, and in fact, the troubles down the left-hand side actually came when Trent and Matip left the field. Now, that's nothing against Konate as such, because I think if we had a cup final tomorrow, we'd want to go with Konate and Van Dijk.
Yeah.
But it's about balancing the workload at the moment, balancing the squad. Konate played both games for France, I think. So Matip has had a rest for a couple of weeks. So I think he'll stick with him alongside Virgil.
Yeah, moving up the field, it's a tough one really. Alexis is back. Klopp said that they've had different flights, haven't they? And it's helped, but I mean, it looks like they all only came back yesterday, so it's only really 2 training sessions before the derby, which is nuts anyway. That we've been given 12:30 again, but that's a whole other debate, really, that one. But who would you opt for in midfield? Would you expect to see Endo start, who was unbelievable for Japan in the internationals, in that holding midfield role with McAllister and Dom further forward? Obviously, Jones is suspended, so there is going to be a change to what we're used to, but with who?
That's the thing. I saw James mention Gravenberch as well. He's been so good for us. So it's a nice problem to have compared to last season. Let's put it that way. But in defensive midfield specifically, I think you've got to give Endo that spot, because McAllister is not allowed to be McAllister, or what we've kind of signed him for. He's been playing in DM, so I think you've got to go Endo, Szoboszlai, and then Gravenberch based on form. But I don't mind McAllister playing either. He's a great player, so I think he'll probably go. Actually, I don't even know, because Jones is suspended. I don't know what he'll go with, but I think Szoboszlai is nailed on. Obviously, I hope we get to see more of Endo, and then maybe Gravenberch and McAllister. But I think Endo will get that start.
Yeah, I mean, Neil, in a derby, it's probably one of the most important games of the season to have a holding midfielder, isn't it? A more natural one. I don't think McAllister's been bad by any stretch really this season, but going into a derby, you want your holding midfielder really to be a holding midfielder and not someone who's been asked to do a job there, don't you?
Yeah, I think this is a real tricky one, because McAllister's playing in that defensive midfield role. He got shown up because he gave the goal away, or was partly responsible for the goal against Brighton. I don't think his problem is necessarily reading the game or defensively. The problem I've seen is that he sometimes takes a little bit too long on the ball in those areas, and 2 or 3 times we've seen that he might get caught. Against Brighton, we got punished. I'm struggling with this, because I think he offers us a lot with forward passes as well. So I'm almost of the view now that you accept that he may get caught out, and that may happen, but that may be outweighed by what he actually offers us going forward. So I think he'll play tomorrow. I didn't think he would play until I saw him back in training yesterday. So they were back, as you said, a day earlier. If it was down to me, I'd probably go with Endo, because I think he did apparently perform very, very well for Japan. I can't say that I saw it. McAllister didn't travel well last time, and I know the altitude difference was significant, but he was very, very poor when he came back against Wolves. So I would probably opt for Endo, but I suspect he'll go with McAllister.
Yeah, I mean, like Neil says, and there's a comment about McAllister not travelling well as well from Musia. Is that even more so, like Neil said, to give Endo the nod, in a sense of he doesn't travel well at all? We've seen that, and that's no qualm on him. He's travelling across the world for his international game. So is that even more reason to give Endo the nod?
Maybe, Maybe, because you just remind me of that Wolves game as well. McAllister, he gave it away like 10 plus times in that first half. It was horrendous. And I do like him, but yeah, maybe he doesn't travel well. But we've obviously not seen him play often, coming back from national duty. And you brought up, we've got a 12:30 kickoff again. I swear we have one against Man City as well, which is just, I don't know, it is ridiculous. But hopefully Man City have a few South Americans that come back late as well. But yeah, I think you've got to give Endo the start, because we all saw the videos Klopp was doing beforehand when he initially joined. He was saying, we need you for this team, etc. So what's the point of giving him that much confidence just to not play him? So I think these are the kind of matches, all due respect to Everton, they're not a great team. So I think if you can't start for us in this match, you can't really expect him to start for us regularly throughout the season. But someone else brought up a comment, I think it was Paul, who said maybe Klopp sees Endo as a James Milner replacement, which could be true actually looking back. So maybe McAllister starts, but I think Endo seems the more logical one given how poor McAllister was last time.
Yeah, and also though, Paul, I think someone just threw a spanner in the works saying about Endo travel to Japan and back as well. So I don't know how far of a flight that is compared to Alexis's.
Yeah, but I think Japan played at least one day earlier in their second match. So
yeah, back a day earlier.
It swings and roundabouts. I think it's down to the manager.
Neil,
who does he think is best for the game?
Would you start, if you were to start Endo in that CDM though, would you then start McAllister in the 8 where Jones has been playing? And obviously Dom's nailed on.
No, I would give him a rest if Endo was to start, and I would opt for Ryan Gravenberch because I think he's looked very, very good. I think he looks like a player with fantastic potential. Should have and could have put us 3-1 up against Brighton, but he was in a good position where he's arrived in the box. So I like a lot of what I've seen from him. He excites me, the way he just glides forward with the ball. So I'd probably give McAllister a bit of a rest. Probably give him a start on Thursday against Toulouse, and get him back in the league team next Sunday. The only thing I would say, that my only doubt is whether he will start Harvey Elliott ahead of Gravenberch, which I think he did against Brighton. I don't think it worked particularly well because it meant that Szoboszlai had to move to the left-hand side. So Gravenberch for me is the natural choice, but quite often Elliott has been the go-to player for Klopp. So yeah, I'd leave McAllister on the bench and I'd go with Gravenberch, but he may go with Elliott. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, like you said before, Anthony, it's good to have these decisions because last year it was just we knew he was playing and there was not much depth really. But Neil makes a good point about Elliott, but Szoboszlai is so pivotal on that right hand side, isn't he, for covering Trent going forward? He's rapid enough to get back. He's been linking up really well with Silas. So Gravenberch, Elliott, when he got his start, that was probably warranted on very good appearances off the bench, and I think Gravenberch warrants a start based off very good appearances off the bench and good performances in Europe. But is the Derby the time to make changes in the midfield, or you just keep it simple, what you've been doing all season?
I think you've got to go Gravenberch just based on form. But okay, like I was saying before, man, I don't care if McAllister starts or Gravenberch because I'm happy with both. But yeah, I've had enough to say about Henderson over the years. So, but like we were saying, man, that problem last season was awful. Is Henderson going to start? Is 37-year-old Milner going to start for us? Now we've got top quality players. I can't remember if it was you, Matty. You really wanted Gravenberch, before he joined Bayern as well. Like we got him for such a cheap amount, but yeah, I'm gassed. I think I reckon he'll start. He's made a really good impact, and can't see no reason why he won't be a success at Liverpool. And yeah, it's a very nice problem to have. McAllister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai. The only issue with Elliott, I think when he's starting matches, he's not really into he kind of ghosts a little bit. Maybe I'm wrong in saying that, but when he comes off the bench, I didn't really rate him, but when he comes off the bench, you can see the impact he's made, especially against Wolves, I think it was, and a couple more matches this season. So I think Elliott, keep him as a bench player. I don't want to say he can only start on the bench, but he's not as good as Szoboszlai, respectfully, and I think Gravenberch has got to start.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony makes a good point, doesn't he? You know, like Elliott to me is exactly the same as Jota, who's just really, really good as an impact substitution, but starting just feels a little bit more off the pace, where like Gravenberch seems to be phenomenal for say 60, 70 minutes. In fact, even when he started, he's went for 90, but I mean 60, 70 minutes, and then you can maybe change things around and bring Elliott on as that impact sub.
Yeah, he's definitely, and I think Jota's a good comparison as well. They've definitely been more influential from the bench, and I think the Newcastle game was probably the best example of that. That I think when them two came on the pitch, the game actually changed. So I think he did well for the England under-21s, Harvey Elliott. So it's a player that seems to be in some sort of form. But I do agree that he has been more effective off the bench. Even when he started in Europe, I don't think he's been as good as he has been when he's coming off the bench. And just to knock Szoboszlai over to the left, it just doesn't feel right for me. So yeah, I would have him as an impact player tomorrow.
So go on, Anthony, give me your midfield three.
Midfield three. He's got to be Endo, Gravenberch, and then Szoboszlai as well. That's my midfield three. But you know what, Matty? What about yours? What's your midfield three for tomorrow?
I'd do McAllister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, just purely because McAllister's South American. They've got that bit of fight in them, and that's what a derby should be.
Respectable. Yeah. What about you, Neil? What's yours?
If everyone was fit and hadn't travelled halfway across the world, I would have the same as Matty. I think Endo, I think he may have been back a bit earlier, so that would probably swing it for me. If I was going as a purist, I'd go with McAllister, Szoboszlai, and Gravenberch. But based on circumstances, I think Endo for McAllister.
It'd be interesting. Klopp's probably going to end up starting Endo, McAllister, and Elliott or something, and he just throwing a curveball. But yeah, like News says, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe while we are here. Does help the channel out loads. Like literally, I don't know what it does with YouTube, but it makes us do good things if everyone likes and subscribes. It really gets everyone on sub boxes, so please do that before we move on to the front three. Gakpo's back in training, thankfully. Really a big fan of Gakpo. Which throws a bit of a spanner, Anthony, into the Nunez or Gakpo. I mean, Nunez has got that fight, but do we risk Nunez getting a red card in the derby when Gakpo is a little bit more level-headed?
I think Nunez. I won't talk about Nunez. I think Gakpo has to start. I think he's just actually, but then again, I think Klopp say in his press conference he's only had like one training session since he's come back, so it probably wouldn't be the smart thing. So Nunez, Jota's back, so maybe we've got too many good forwards. So Salah's now done, obviously. Then I don't know. I think you've probably got to. I don't know actually. Jesus. Nunez probably has to start. Nunez, yeah, Jamie's brought up as a monster against Brazil. I saw him turn Casemiro and Gabriel. Based on form, I guess Nunez has to start. And then Luis Diaz, I think maybe that's Klopp's favourite front three. We've seen the most from him this season playing that front three. Could be wrong. Maybe Gakpo's in there, but any of them, I don't mind. Diaz has been disrespected a lot lately. I came to Twitter after the Brighton match. Everyone was saying, "Oh, he's at 40, he was rubbish, he's 0 out of 10 and stuff." I couldn't understand it. I thought maybe it's just I thought the midfield was what lacked in that match more so than the front three. But Diaz is good. He just needs to find his form again, and going up front, the striker, you can't really go wrong with Nunez at the moment. So yeah, I'd go with Nunez.
Yeah, I think with Diaz, he's just been victim of the fact that Mane was like a freak winger who was scoring 20, 30 goals a season, whereas he's not that. He's more of a winger. So I think people need to realise that. Anyone who slags him off as it's mad. I've seen that myself. I was like, wow, what are you doing? He's one of our best players. But Neil Nunez, he's really turned the corner this year for club and country. And I do think Bielsa's probably helped in Uruguay. It looks like they've had quite a bit of one-on-one time as well, even when outside of Uruguay, which is benefiting Liverpool. But he does seem to have turned that corner, and surely that last line of pace that he had put on their defence, what's slow as anything, is just one main reason why he should start up front tomorrow.
Yeah, I think he's in form. I think he apparently had a fabulous game. He scored a good goal against Brazil. I think he created the second goal as well. So he's confident and he's in form. His work rate is as good as it's ever been. I think Klopp was a bit critical earlier on in the season that he didn't offer the same defensively as to what the likes of Jota and Gakpo did, and I think he's worked on that. So for me, he's primed to be a starter. The only doubt I have, if he's fit, he plays for me. The only doubt I have is there were stories that he came off with, he came back and he had cramp, and he's still struggling for fitness. So that might be the only thing that I think holds him back. But in terms of his all round play, he's definitely come on a huge amount this season, and I don't think it's going to take much for him to catch fire. And to start really banging in goals. He's done well, but I think you'll start to see him score in runs and lots of goals as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's the perfect game really, against a side that's conceded quite a few goals. Hadn't scored many until the game before the international break. I think that was against Bournemouth, wasn't it? Nunez against that defence is just mouthwatering for me, really. And I think teams this year, when Nunez has been on the pitch, don't know what to do with him. When he's came, look at Newcastle, they went apart when he came on. He's just been really pivotal for us this year. So putting him up against that Everton defence, surely he's going to bag at least a brace.
Yeah, he's got two, man. I think he's got 3 league goals this season. I might be wrong, and 2 off him in that Newcastle match, and I can't remember who the other one, maybe West Ham it was against, but he's just a random. I think I was having this conversation with my mum. Yeah, he's not. I used to say he was just rubbish before, but he's not rubbish, and I don't think he's like world class or anything. He's just the most unique random player I think I've ever seen, because he'll miss the most easy chance you'll ever see, and then he'll score like against Newcastle. I did not. I was on the watch time for that. I can't believe my eyes what happened that match. Like 2 1-on-1s, and he just buried them like he weren't missing them, like 100 of those chances last season. So hopefully he comes good, and hopefully, like people say, it's like, oh, we'll just need 1 or 2 goals, and then they'll start flying in. I really hope that's the case, because we spent big money on him, and he's not really lived up to that standard of forwards we really had before. Not in a bad way. Obviously, we've had a very high standard with Mane and Firmino and Salah. So he's got to nail himself down as a starter, because when you're a striker and you cost that much money, you've got to bang in the goals, and he's not really done that. But like I said, perfect game for him, man. Playing against an awful team, awful defence, and we're at Anfield, so there's no reason he shouldn't be starting and scoring for us.
Yeah, I mean, Neil, Paul makes a very good comment about Nunez, saying he seems to be better coming off the right side. I mean, his 2 goals against Newcastle were from that right side. Are we potentially seeing the long-term Salah replacement with Nunez, because he's fast enough, working on his defensive game? We do know Salah probably will depart for Saudi in the coming years. So is that potentially his long-term replacement already there?
Well, if the rumours are to be believed, it will have Victor Osimhen as the central striker. So I think that was reported today. So based on that, maybe, but no, I don't think so. I think Nunez is our long-term central striking option. I agree with Paul, actually, that he has looked good from the right, particularly against Newcastle when Salah dropped a bit deeper and he was making those runs from outside to in from the right, and he does. Typically, when we've not used him in the middle, we have used him on the left. But I do think the right side suits him a little bit more, and he does drift towards the right side because he actually links up really well with Mo Salah, doesn't he? So, yeah, I think he's got the potential to play there, but I don't think it's the long-term plan, the way I see it.
Yeah, I mean, if I believe in rumours, we're starting next year with Musiala in the middle and Arsenal leading the line. It's going to be that's what a time to be a red. But look at that Everton team, Anthony. Is there anyone who worries you in the side? I mean, for me, I think if Calvert-Lewin starts, that's a bit interesting. I do think when fit, he's a very good player. But past that, I think Joe Beto, I give him a chance, right? I thought, wonder how he is, and then if that header he missed, and if you've seen it, or 2 game weeks before the international break, it was shocking. I just thought, yeah, you're garbage, you, and they're just crap, aren't they?
That's the thing. I don't want to be so like disrespectful or like just say they're rubbish and then it comes back to haunt us. But they're not just not good. I don't even know who plays for them anymore. Like I can't imagine a scenario where we lose this match. And maybe last season because we were a bit shit ourselves, but this season we've leveled up, man. We've got a proper midfield, proper team going. I just can't imagine us losing. So any threats, maybe from up front or maybe on those silly chances. Like I feel like most of our goals we've conceded this season have just been from stupid chances anyway. Like the Brighton first goal just summed it up, and Brighton's second goal as well. Like Robertson just stood there for the free kick when it went past him, and then McAllister it just scored from nearly the halfway line. So if we give away a silly goal, then fair enough. But I can't see them really threatening this Liverpool team.
I mean, Neil, Bito's a bit fast, so I think Canate deals with him if he does start. If Matip starts against Bito, maybe I'll be a little bit like, oh, the pace worries me, but they are crap. I mean, I don't want to jinx it, and they go and beat us, which I just can't see ever happening. Touch wood, like at Anfield especially, but they're just really, really bad, aren't they? So, like, surely this is a walk in the park tomorrow.
I think we will win the game. I don't ever feel totally confident in a derby. They have won 3 out of their last 4 games, believe it or not. So they've got some reasonable players. Jack Harrison, Anana in the middle of the park. And Anana didn't play against. He got sent off in the first game for Belgium, so he's rested as well. Doucouré seems to come a threat in some games. Pops up with a goal. Dwight McNeil, but the quality is really with us. So whilst we shouldn't underestimate them, and they have had a good bit of form, I do expect us to handle them quite comfortably.
I mean, they've got James Garner in the middle as well, haven't they? He's looked very, very good this season for Everton. I mean, if Everton turn up, Anthony, should we be worried? Will we go 1 down? That's probably the better question.
What do you say? If we go 1-0 down, should we be worried?
Do you reckon it happens against Everton? Because it happens against everyone else this year. Do you think we'll go 1-0 down soon?
You know what? Jamie has just put it here. I can see them scoring and then just parking the bus. Every team does that against us as well, don't they?
Yeah.
The thing is, I think we've got a good enough team to come back from that. Like Spurs defeat aside, that is a lot of rubbish. I don't want to say it in a weird way, but we're technically invincible this season if it weren't for that Spurs result. And we've came back in most of our matches. And the 3-1 curse, you shouldn't score first against Liverpool. And can't imagine we'll let Everton off with that as well. So I don't think we should be worried. No, we've got enough players. And Szoboszlai is the main one. I think he can shoot from outside the box. Even McAllister. Remember when he crossed it into Nunez for the West Ham goal? Like our midfielders are creators. That's what we've been missing for ages, to kind of unlock these teams that part the bus. And against, was it Leicester in the Carabao Cup? Szoboszlai shooting from outside the box. The corner as well, was it against West Ham? Can't remember, but Szoboszlai scored his first goal. It's like you don't really see that from our midfield. So yeah. I think because of the different dynamics of our midfield, you're not really going to see Liverpool frustrated that often playing against teams who park the bus now this season.
Yeah, I mean, even if they park the bus, Neil, how many sides have tried that this year and ended up being defeated 3-1?
Yeah, we've got that ability to blow teams away. Something that we had a few years ago. Quite often it would be in the first 20, 25 minutes of a game, we'd find ourselves 3-0 up where we just blow the opposition away. We've actually done it the opposite way around here, where we've been sluggish in the way that we've started games. But once we have started to get going, from the half-hour mark onwards and into the second half, we're quite capable of scoring, 3-4 goals in quick succession. So I think Anthony made a good point as well. The midfielders we've got now, it's our midfield from our brilliant teams from 2018, 2019, 2020. They were good players, very great players, workmen. These feel like they've got a bit more skill and a bit more craft and a bit more guile about them, which is something that we have lacked quite badly for the last couple of years. So with a prolific strike force that we've got, and we've got what I consider to be the 5 best options in the league, and that craft and skill behind them, then I think that's what gives us that capacity to go and blow teams away.
Yeah, definitely. I do think we'll absolutely destroy them tomorrow. I'm so bitter, and I've got so many Everton fan mates that we best bloody turn them over, to be honest with you, because it just makes it a bit funnier. But how important it is the win against Everton in general anyway, because obviously there's the 12:30 kickoff. It then does put us above Man City. Now, I know Arsenal and Tottenham are still first and second, but I'm just going to be a bit disrespectful and disregard them, because I don't think they'll maintain that all season. That may bite me on the ass, but going a point above City before they will be 2 points above City before they even kick off, the pressure that then puts on them can help Liverpool, can't it?
Definitely, man. You know what, Matty? I can never knock your optimism. I remember a few years ago, in the COVID season, I think we were playing Henderson Fabinho at centre back against Man City, and you were like, "We're gonna batter them 4-0." But yeah, I think these are the worst times to play and the best times, because when you win, it's like you can just chill for the rest of the weekend. But I think it's so important just to get these 3 points. We've seen two out of the past 4 seasons when we've been in the title race, how narrow the margins are, man. Like, literally, these results cost us at the end of the season. So if we do want to be competing for the Premier League, which I believe we should be doing this season, then we've got to be winning matches against Everton at Anfield. Doesn't matter what time it is. So hopefully we can go above City. And I actually agree. I don't see Arsenal keeping their form up, but at the same time, just because Man City have lost Gundogan, who else have they lost? I'm sure they've lost a couple more players. I can't even see them keeping it up for that long. Maybe, you know what? I say that every season, and they go and get 90+ points. But yeah, I really hope, man. I hope we could just get together and manage to put in a proper title race and hopefully win it. Hopefully win a title race as well.
Yeah, I think this is the year, if anyone's going to grasp it off City, it's the year they look very weak from. The starting 11's unbelievable, but then with injuries and suspensions, the bench, they're using a lot more academy than what Liverpool and stuff are using. But Neil, looking at the table, I mean, if we were to win, obviously we're the early kickoff, we go level on points on top of the table with Tottenham and with Arsenal. And then you look at the fixtures that the 3 teams above us have got tomorrow. I mean, City have got Brighton, granted at the Etihad, but Brighton are one of them sides that can go and snatch a result there. And then Arsenal and Tottenham find themselves having London derbies, Tottenham against Fulham at home, and then Arsenal away to Chelsea. So again, fixtures where sides could beat them quite easily. You've seen like your Fulhams and Chelseas and stuff, they can beat sides. So we could find ourselves top of the league potentially, even at the end of the day. That win makes it so much more important, doesn't it? Because then they're going into their fixture like, well, if we don't win, Liverpool are above us here.
Yeah, I think it's about creating pressure, isn't it? Because no matter what anyone tells you, if you're chasing, it does add pressure to your shoulders. So I think what everyone kind of had settled on before the international break was, based on the fixtures we'd had a pretty decent start, that we were only 3 points off top. We obviously had the issues with the Tottenham game as well. So we'd had a decent start to our season, and these fixtures starting tomorrow are the ones where we should start to pick up points when other teams have got difficult fixtures. So tomorrow's massive for me. The feel-good factor of going to the top of the table. I think we only need to win by 1 goal to do that, and then, as you say, it's over to the others. City with Brighton. Brighton can cause any team problem. City could win 6-0.
Yeah.
It's that type of game. Chelsea, Arsenal. Chelsea have improved a bit, and then I think Spurs have got Fulham on Monday. Fulham, you never know, could turn up. Spurs have had a bit of luck. So for me, massive tomorrow. Get to the top of the table. Let the others feel that pressure. Bit of feel good factor on our side, and then kick on with the fixtures that we've got.
Yeah, I mean, is tomorrow the hardest game, man, before City? Because when you look at our fixtures, we've got Forest next week, and then we've got Luton, and then we've got Brentford, and then City. But Forest and Brentford are both at home, along with the Derby. We've only got our away games at Luton, which will be tough in that stadium. But it is tomorrow the hardest of that run of, say, 4 fixtures where we should probably win all 4.
I'd say so, just because it's Liverpool, but just because it's a Merseyside derby. If it's like Man City playing Everton, you'd say they're steamrolling, but realistically, it'll probably be Brentford. To be fair, they've caused us some horrible problems in the past couple of years, so I'll say those guys. But just because it's a Merseyside derby and 12:30 kickoff, we're not sure who's properly fit in that. So I'd say Everton's definitely the toughest one.
Yeah, I mean, have they had many international players go away, Neil? Do you know, Everton?
So I was thinking about this earlier in the week. So the goalkeeper went. I don't know if Jared Brantwaite went with England under 21s, but yeah, as I say, Onana got sent off for Belgium in their first game, so he was rested midweek and probably came back early. Calvert-Lewin obviously wasn't involved with the internationals, and I don't think Dwight McNeil wasn't, and I don't think Jack Harrison was. So I think from the squad being settled back for training, it's probably been a bit more straightforward for them.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's still a side that I still think he's experimenting to try and find out what his best side is. So yeah, they might have had an extra day's training for the majority of their squad, but let's not worry about that.
Yeah, and before we do finish it off, Anthony, come on, Neil, and score predictions. Always a tough one with a derby. What are you going to go with, Anthony? Gives your score prediction, your scorers.
Score predictions. I'll be optimistic. I'll say 3. Don't want to say 3. You know what? We're getting a clean sheet. I'll say 3-0. I think Nunez, he's got to score, and Salah's just Mo Salah, best player in the world. This is a Ballon d'Or season, everyone, so he's going to contribute again to another big match. So yeah, I reckon 3-0.
Good shout, that, to be fair. Ballon d'Or season, Messi and Ronaldo both in different leagues. That's a very, very good shout. What about you, Neil? Score prediction, goal scorers.
I was going to say 3-0 as well. A Darwin Nunez brace and a Mohamed Salah goal, because he does something every game.
Interesting. For me, I've just got this mad feeling we steamrolled them like 5-1. Genuinely, I just reckon we outscored. I reckon Nunez could even bag a hat-trick tomorrow, and that is his transfer fee paid off, done, dusted, silence all the Blues with an hat-trick that we can all out for that, because they proper hate him. So, and yeah, Paul, I agree with that. I'd love Gravenberch to score as well, because all my mates who were Blues a few when we got him for as cheap as we did. Steal the summer for me, steal the summer. But we are going to leave it there. We are back tomorrow, straight after the game, and as well at 7:30. We don't forget to join the post-match game. I think Charlie's actually on for the first time in a while, so do come and stop by and say hello to Charlie. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe on the video. And as always, nice one for tuning in. Nice one to Anthony and Neil for joining me on today's stream. Up the Reds.